These walls can talk. Open your mind and listen.
Okay, so we're on the show now?
Yes.
Okay. We want to make sure we're technical. We're not going to bring our guest in just yet. Pardon me, I was getting rid of my COVID. So, folks, tonight, I'm saying folks, but there's nobody on the show just yet, so I'm not talking to anybody.
Oh, we've got one person.
We have one person, that's awesome, and we've got whoever might be on Instagram right now. We're broadcasting everywhere, but nowhere is watching. So tonight, we're going to have a guest tonight. But before I get into all that, look, I went to the gym. My co-worker Jim Jean-Marc Frappier, he listens to our audio portion of this, as he says, out smashing plates. So I was smashing plates tonight, and I wanted to say that I was in a grumpy mood because my iPod caffed out on me while I was working out.
Mike joined.
And then, Mr. Arturi's online. That's excellent. So one of the things when your iPod goes out when you're working out, and there's 600 people there right now because everybody's like, I want to get out of my damn house. I want to work out. Yeah. But what you hear and smell and feel comes up much more, right? So, you got people like making squeaky noises with their body as they oil each other and that kind of stuff. And they're staring. It's really disgusting. Oil each other. But, what I want to know is.
Hi, Linda.
You're a woman.
Yeah.
Right. So.
That's a fact.
We've got this, I don't know what. Anyway. Shorts, right? Shorts, socks, tall socks, shorts, tall socks, kind of a wife beater like shirt, and wearing a lumber jacket while he's working out. Is that attractive?
Yeah.
Is there no woman that's going to walk by him and go, look at this handsome piece of roast beef?
Roast beef.
Yes. And anyway, that was just my thoughts before we had all that. So tonight's episode has got to do with something that is very foreign to me. Okay. I think a lot of people tend to batch the paranormal into the same thing. As an investigator, we all think we all do it all, right? I think I've been asked myself on what our opinions are of. You're not even in the Instagram. The UFOs. We don't do UFOs. Never done UFOs. I live in the city. If it's not a UFO, it's probably an Air One cop helicopter going by. We don't do cryptozoology. And I got a lot of questions around crypto because I had some assumptions myself about it. Mm-hmm. Largely because where we are in the city, it's not like you're going up and grabbing it. But B, I don't know about you. Like I've never heard any claims of any cryptid in this area.
No, like when I lived in Saskatchewan, I heard tons of it, but that was like more of a cultural thing.
Sure.
Like I can't even think of the last time I've heard I think it was like in the last 2 years, like for a while they were finding like weird things in the sky, so UFOs. But as far goes as like any.
But we live in between two nuclear power plants.
Yeah. So.
What you're seeing, cryptid-wise, is glowing fish.
Yeah.
Right. But it's. Well, I shit you negative. We've got carp that are 195 pounds in the water.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
They topple over boats.
But as far goes as like seeing something like no,
right,
nothing.
So anyway, tonight we have a special guest, Nathan Moyer. I'm going to pronounce it wrong because we're in Canada. I'm sure it's Moyer in the States. Moyer up here. We have to have the French thing going on from Bfro. And there's going to be questions I'm going to ask about that because Bfro, as I see, is an organization rather than a team, right? Which again is much opposite to the way paranormal ghost hunters run. Because when we're on teams that belong to organizations or something.
Right, I got it.
So we're going to bring Nathan in.
Hey everybody, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
So. What I'd like you to just, if you don't mind, Nate, can you identify yourself? That sounds so prickish. Will you introduce yourself, where you are, and your affiliated people?
Yeah, Nathan Moyer. I live in Pennsylvania. Been squatching for probably almost 12 years now or so.
Okay.
Been a member of the Bfro since, I want to say 2013 or something like that. But yeah, like you said, it's an organization. There's a couple hundred people that belong to it. I think close to 400 now.
Okay.
And yeah, we have our own groups. We have different, kind of like you do. You know, we have. I'm also part of a group called NASBRO, North American Sasquatch and Bigfoot Researchers Organization. That's based in New Jersey. We use that as the platform to launch our podcast. We do Squatch Talks on YouTube and Facebook. So.
Okay. So then bringing it to that situation. So Bfro, is that right?
Bfro, yep.
I keep on calling it BRFO. I think that Barfo sounds terrible. So Bfro. So it's like an umbrella organization, and
correct.
So would I then be guessing that a lot of people that belong to this organization are actually individual investigators rather than a team of investigators, or do you?
That's mainly how it is. We're all single investigators. We do everything more or less by ourselves. We sort of gravitate together to people that live near you. You do stuff together, but mainly we're by ourselves.
Okay, well that's also frightening to me, because so you no, I'm just thinking, I get asked to do this once in a while, and if I was by myself and came upon a 9-foot squatch,
yeah,
I'd shit myself. I wouldn't be wanting to do it. I'm not doing it by myself. I'm doing it with full body armor. But so well, you do your thing. Now that's excellent though. So basically speaking, you can float farm to farm. So if there's somebody that's in New Jersey, you could go work with them, no problem.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Now, does BFRO have like a certain hierarchy, or?
Kind of, sort of. We have what do they call it? I can't remember what the lowest one would be. It's like a helper, but that's before you're 18. You can be a volunteer, they call it.
I see. Okay.
And then after that, then you become a member, and then you can become an investigator, and then you become an organizer where you actually have expeditions, and they pay to come out and go in the woods with you.
Wow.
I do that. We the three of us that are on Squatch Talks, we do that quite a bit.
Right.
I think my last expedition I had 42 people.
Holy hell.
Yeah.
42 people. That sounds like a public investigation to me. I'd lose my mind.
We were all camping in the same field, and I had different spots to go every night. I had split everybody up into different teams and went out, and we actually caught howls on that expedition, and you can't really see it up there. Cast an actual footprint.
I can see it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. So
actually during our expedition, we were walking the dirt road past where we were camping, and the attendees were walking around all day doing stuff, and nobody saw the footprint in the puddle on the dirt road. We went back a couple hours later, and there it was.
Really?
Perfect footprint. Yeah.
Okay,
it was in a lot of water, but
okay. I'm assuming you can see the screen the same way we can. So a friend of mine that runs a team up near our nation's capital, Bytown Paranormal, Squatches have been reported up in the Ottawa Valley and Algonquin Park. Now it's ironic we're headed to the Ottawa Valley this weekend, but it's where I am. Like I'm down near Toronto.
Okay.
No. So question here, and I'm assuming there are people that have assumptions about what you do.
Okay.
And you're probably always going to be like answering questions going, no, because it's the same with us, right? Like, somebody comes to us and they're like, I have a picture of an orb and it's my Uncle Jack and he's watching over my baby. No, it's dust. So I'm assuming that you like being involved with cryptozoology. Do people come to you at all? Like you are specifically focused on Sasquatch, correct?
Mostly, it's changing lately. We're starting to branch out a little bit because of things that are happening to us.
Okay.
So
other,
you,
other
but not other cryptids. It's turning kind of paranormal.
okay. All right. Like I think because some people like they batch paranormal into all the
Right.
MUFON, cryptozoology,
Yeah.
ghost hunting, it's all the same thing.
Right.
But in regards to cryptids, do you just focus on
Sasquatch mostly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, obviously, in that realm of cryptozoology, you chupacabra, Mothman, all
Right.
that kind of weird stuff, which all are kind of funky and weird. Like,
Yeah.
look, if I could see it, I'd definitely check it out.
Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Dog man. Yeah.
What's a porn? Skinwalkers. Don't talk about that. It's my daughter. Okay, so now so now getting into this now, people are going to ask also. So the whole Sasquatch thing, in its own relativity, kind of been reported around the world type.
Right.
So is Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, abominable snowman, like what are they all intercommingled, related, or totally separate things?
I think they're probably along the same lines as just different as we're different on different continents. They're the same. It's probably like the same animal, but we all look different on different continents, so they look different too. But I think it's along the same lines of the same thing.
Okay, so yeah, like we have a hominid that's basically affected by weather and food and all
So
that.
the fur's different, the size is different.
Right.
You get, and it's kind of weird that they get taller up north, up where you guys are. They seem to be much taller than in the middle of the country where I'm at.
There's a good question there, because like I'm 5'5", I'm built like a gnome. I'm very big looking on TV. How big are we talking?
Well, the first one I saw, when I put one of my partners in between the trees, it was doing the whole ghost peak thing, or not ghost peak. It was swaying, peeking behind the trees,
That's
and it took up the entire space between the trees. And when I put my partner up there, he had to put his arms out like this to touch the trees.
Yeah.
And he's like 6'2", I guess. Dan is. He's a pretty big guy. And we were looking at this thing from probably just below its belly button up. And he when he was standing at the same place, we were looking at him from like the chest up. So this thing was an easy 3 foot taller than he was. So I'm saying 8-9 foot.
Jesus, Murphy. Okay, so nothing I'm going to want to bump into, because like I'm not scared of something that walks through walls. Okay, that doesn't bother me. I am, however, scared of something that can crumple me. Right.
This is a cast from Ohio.
Of a foot.
Of a foot. That's how big. I mean, I wear a size 17 ring, so I have pretty good hand. I have pretty big hands, and this thing's huge.
Holy God.
That was Deer Creek, Ohio.
Okay, so Linda has asked. Okay, go back there. Put Linda's question. How close have you gotten to one?
Kentucky, Mammoth Cave, Kentucky would probably be the closest I was to one. And I'm going to say it was 30 feet away.
That's too close for me.
It bluff charged.
Bluff charged.
Yeah, it actually bluff charged. We couldn't see it. It never came out of the darkness of the forest, but it was kicking the leaves up with its hands and everything. It was making a huge amount of noise.
And you were sitting there like an idiot waiting for it to come eat you, or what?
Well, the way it all started was there was 4 of us in a group, and we're walking down the dirt road.
Right.
I did some wood knocks that they told me not to do because they said fast wood knocks down south means aggression.
So you're taunting it.
Yeah. So I did fast wood knocks
with a 10-foot piece, right?
Yeah. Taunting a 1,000-pound animal. Yeah. By the time I made it the 12 feet back to the group, we had a tree snap off, which we found later. It was probably 4 or 5 inches across in diameter.
Right.
green tree, snapped it right off about 10, 12 feet in the air. Then we could see where it bluff charged us because everything was all overturned.
Jeez.
And but when it bluff charged us, we went from a group of 4 walking across the dirt road to my daughter could have been in my back pocket. That's how close everybody got. We were just like,
Jeez.
Well, I mean,
it was scary. It was growling. It was kind of
so like
scary.
now, it just first off, I don't care whether that was an angry squirrel. If it was, I would cover a hell of a lot more than 25 feet in so many seconds.
Yeah, we literally
Canada.
we literally stood there and waited for it to stop making noise before we started walking back to the church where we were.
Well, I wouldn't have any bowel problems that night. They'd be all left behind. So now how do you know that this wasn't a bear? Unless you don't have bears there.
Yeah, I believe there's bears in Kentucky.
Okay.
I don't know. A bear wouldn't have broke that branch. You know, I don't see a bear breaking that branch the way it did. A bear would have kept coming.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would have been hungry.
Yeah, a bear would have if he was bluff charging, if that was a bear, I think he would have kept coming.
I guess bears don't really bluff charge. Bears just charge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as this was happening, as the bluff charge was happening when we were walking, it was to our left. My daughter kept looking straight down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was just a little bit behind the tree where I had done the wood knock. My daughter saw one. She said it walked like a chimpanzee, but it was only like 4 foot tall. So what it was happening was when I went over there, I got too close to the young one.
Mm-hmm.
The adult made the noise so the young one could get out of the way without us seeing it.
Okay.
So
Now,
that's, I believe, was the bluff charge.
Before I get to Linda's question there, look, how old was your daughter when
At the time?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 15, 16, 17 in there.
Good. So then I don't feel so bad, you see, because I've been
No.
taking my daughter, Fee, here, who's in her 20s now. But when she was 12 and 13 years old, I was bringing her as bait on investigations.
My youngest.
I'm going to push her in the way to get eaten before I get the fuck out of the way. But like, because, younger minds open to more things.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
Decade later, of course, she's investigating with us. So Linda, who's actually an investigator on my team, is asking me though poorly spelled, what would be their lifespan?
I'm going to venture a guess. Obviously we don't know. There are gray ones. I mean, we don't have one on a slab, so we can't tell you, but
Right.
we've seen gray ones. We have reports of ones that are missing teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to think they get up into the 40s and 50s.
Oh, okay.
50 years old.
So it's not like a ridiculous 300, 400, 500-year-old.
No. I think they age similar to any other
So they're reproducing.
ape.
Like there's a family of hairy reproducers in a forest somewhere.
Yeah, there's a couple of people that have different theories on that, and the one that I like the most is there's one Sasquatch for every 150 bear you have in an area.
Oh, there's a lot of bear in British Columbia.
Exactly. So
We got a lot of black bear here too.
Yeah.
yeah, so every 150 bear, there's at least one Squatch. So there's a lot.
How did that statistic come to be?
It was an educated hypothesis by by a guy that that we go hunting with.
Sure.
He actually wrote a book, Appalachian Bigfoot, Dr. Russ Jones. It's on Amazon. You can get it. It's a pretty good book.
Now, if we sound chide or jokey about any of this, it's honestly because
Oh, that's fine.
we're completely ignorant of it.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
But out of the most respect, I assure you, because from one paranormal science to another, I use that word science, I should slap myself. From one paranormal pseudoscience to another, we get, obviously chastised throughout the community of the science, which is totally fine because what we do is laughable at a lot of the best times. All we can do is make it look as serious as we can, or that we're good at it. So I'm gonna go on about some questions about you. Okay.
Me? Okay.
Yeah. How long have you been at this? You might have already said it. Please.
Yeah, Privately, well, my daughter was 14 when we started, and she's 24 now. So 12, 10, 12 years.
Wow. Okay. What got you into it? Like what occurred?
I always liked Bigfoot. I watched In Search of and all that kind of stuff. But what really got me into it was when the Finding Bigfoot TV show was on. And my daughter was watching it. She loved it. And at the end, it said, if you want to go on a public expedition, email this email. And she says, can we do that for my birthday?
Oh.
I said, sure. So we went out to Salt Fork, Ohio, and went on our first expedition out there, just the two of us. And we've been doing it ever since. We couldn't stop.
All you ever asked me for at your birthday was money.
Well, it wasn't cheap, I can tell you that.
Hey, hell, I got selfish kids. Okay, so that's what got you into it. Now, what did you just put up there?
It was a foot.
Is that with a foot? Hold on, we're going to say a foot. You put that back up because I didn't see it. It looks. Oh, I see there now. To me, I'm old eyes.
Okay,
it looks like
sorry, it's just a poor quality.
It's
photo.
so obviously prior to a cast.
Yeah. I was,
Okay, so like a size 77 foot. Shaquille has got nothing on Bigfoot.
Right.
Now, how frequent do you get out and investigate?
Pretty often as we can. I mean,
like I know you've been laid up for a little bit, but I mean, like,
yeah,
regular, not COVID time, which smeared us of everything.
Yeah, screws
like,
everything up.
A regular 2019 year, hopefully now 2022 starting up now.
Yeah.
How often would you investigate?
Twice a month at least.
Okay, so you're doing about as much as that's about as much as I like to investigate now too.
Especially with the gas prices now, you can't. You got to work. You got to get time off work. It's people just don't understand sometimes. This takes a lot of work.
Damn right, it does. It takes a lot of work and a lot of expense, and people don't realize that this research. Like when we do an investigation, we say we're driving 2 hours each way. Sometimes we're paying for hotels. We do just to let anyway. We do not get paid for what we do.
Nope.
Clients ask us to come out. We're doing lots of pre-work ahead of time with that client, and trying to get all the bullshit that other people have fed them, and then we go out there. Okay, we will ask that. And then afterwards, of course, you're going through all of your evidence and going through hours and hours of audio, and then we're producing evidence relay videos for the client, and so and so. So one investigation equates to about 60 hours of work, and
oh yeah, for sure,
lots and lots of money, right?
Yeah.
Like this investigation this weekend coming up is going to run me a couple $100 in fuel and hotel and whatever. But you do what you do for what we do.
Yeah, and the equipment,
about your shadow person.
Shadow person, yeah.
I've had an encounter myself too.
Have you?
I have. I'll tell about mine. You show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
we were in New York, southern New York, at a Bfro Bigfoot expedition, and we had something weird happen down at this place we call the Stump Dump. It's just a place where they dump.
The Stump Dump.
Yeah, they dump limbs and stumps and gravel and just like clean fill. Okay. They're just filling it in. So we're sitting down there. Some weird stuff happened to the guy that was there before.
Right.
So we went down, a big group of us, and we set up a circle and we put a recorder in the middle and we started asking questions similar to what we would think you would do. Right. Obviously we're not paranormal investigators. We were giving it a shot though, because this thing that ran at it was actually Brian Spinner, the other co-host on Squatch Talks. It ran at him, and on the audio, you can actually hear him when you hear the footfalls, you can actually hear him go because it runs right through him.
Yeah.
And so we went down to that area. We set up the circle and put the recorder in the middle, and everybody's asking questions and doing stuff. And I wanted to Bigfoot. I didn't want really a lot to do with the paranormal thing. So I was facing the other direction. Everybody's looking into the circle. I turned around and I'm facing the other way. And I got my thermal and I'm therming the woods looking for Bigfoot.
Right.
So but I was still participating. I'd ask my questions, and I'd, as it went around the circle, when it was my turn to participate, I did. Brian said somebody on my left was having something happened. They thought, they felt weird, cold, whatever was going on. I don't remember exactly. But the woman Patty was sitting next to me. She's like our good luck charm. When Brian said, "If that's you, enter the circle," the shadow behind Patty stood up, and I mean, it was tall and it was big. This shadow just stood up and it walked across right through me into the circle. I got goosebumps and everything right now telling it. I mean, it felt like, I don't know what it was. Like this energy just walked right through me.
That'd have been awesome. You should show the people on Instagram what we're looking at, by the way, while we're doing that. So we're gonna switch a view. So I'm gonna tell you about my ghost. Yeah. So I've only 30 years I've been investigating.
Okay.
Look, we're talking now over 500 investigations I've got documented on my website. But we were in a state hospital down near Arkansas. I actually forget what state we were in. And I remember we were upstairs on the top floor, and these hallways of this mental hospital were ridiculous, like 30 rooms long hallways, like really, really big, and nice, dark, totally abandoned hospital. We had permission to be there. It was nice. And I'm with another investigator from another team. And he was our host. And we're sitting on a picnic table in the atrium area at the top floor. And all of a sudden, we both see something in front of us moving. So I'm like, okay. So I see him taking off towards it, right? Now, I've got glasses on, so I'm kind of semi-night blind. So I'm running, looking at the bottom of his feet. Got like Nikes on. So I'm running after his feet down this hallway, which is, 32 miles long. I'm going. And then I run and follow it into a room. And then I'm like, I'm here by myself. Okay. So then I go out and look down the hallway, and the guy that was with me that I was chasing is at the atrium. He never left.
Oh.
Wow. You were chasing something else.
He said, "I was watching you run down the hallway." And I'm like, "But I was following you going down the hallway."
Wow.
Like, I didn't leave the chair.
Jeez.
So yeah, that's the only shadow man I've ever had experience with.
Wow.
Beyond that, and I think now a lot of it is because being in the field for so long, unfortunately, you do discount a lot.
Yeah.
Once you've been at it for a while, it's kind of like, no, that's just this.
Yeah.
I kind of actually missed the days when we investigated, in the first year or two, even when we were screwing up a lot, because you do.
Yeah.
But it was still like very, even if it wasn't what was that, it was still exciting.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I walk through a prison, it's like, okay, well, take your reads, take this and that. So you were mentioning, and that'll be my next question, I guess, then, because you mentioned thermal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get seeing some of the equipment we use that's in common. You
Okay.
obviously use audio, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming parabolic dishes. You're probably trying to grab any out. Use parabolic or just
No, I don't use parabolic. We use the guy that makes our microphones, Bfro Audio.
right.
They're super sensitive microphones. They hear for miles, and
Okay. So some form of acceleration mic.
Yeah. One of my favorite tools that we use is an LDR, long duration recorder.
Okay.
We build them ourselves. We make them out of PVC. You can put a couple of batteries in them with your recorder. It's waterproof. We hang them in a tree. And when you say about going over information from your thing, we listen to hundreds of hours, because that recorder, if you put the batteries together, right, you can get 2-3 months out of a recorder, right? So you have to listen to that. The recorders we use, you turn them on at 9 o'clock at night, and you turn them off at 7 o'clock in the morning. That you set them up inside in the recorder that way, so it's on a timer.
Right.
But still, you listen to a month's worth of recordings. It's mind numbing.
So the recorder itself, like the unit is, so that's also made, or do you like buying Zoom, Tascam, Olympus?
Yeah, with Tascams, we use those because you can set them up. Yeah, you can set them up to the different to come on at the right time. We use the same kind of recorders, yeah, but we use the external mics because they're so sensitive.
So how do you okay? How do you not get that shit stolen?
You just hope nobody sees it. It's camouflage as best you can.
Yeah.
You hang it 12, 15 foot up in a tree. You just try to go where people aren't. That's what we do, is we try to go where people aren't.
I couldn't climb 15 feet of a tree.
Well, we use hooks, we use rope, you use a tree branch and set it up in the tree,
So do you frequent the same spots then?
Yeah.
Or okay, so you basically establish a trend where
Yeah.
okay.
Well, and the map behind me, I have pins in the map, different places.
Mhm.
I have it labeled different times a year. They're at different places. They're not always at the same spot. Like where we were, my expedition in September when we made the cast, they're not there all year long. I got a lot of grief about it when I put that one out because it was the beginning of hunting season. And people are like, "Oh, you're going to get everybody killed. It's hunting season." I was like, "Hey, you got to go there when they're there. You can't, if you know they're not there, why go?"
Do you wear like glowy PPE when you're out there so you don't get shot?
No, we during the day, yeah. If it's daytime and you're walking around, it's hunting season, we wear orange and stuff. But at night, I mean, we don't wear anything at night.
You're naked?
No, not naked, but we don't wear any of the orange. No. We try not to use lights at all either. We use no white light. We use only red lights or green lights.
Yeah.
And to preserve your night vision.
I'm assuming you also, okay, so like in similar equipment, I assume you guys probably have the video cameras to document what you're doing, probably.
Yep.
Obviously SLR cameras to take pictures of what you're doing. So
Mhm.
you're probably have a lot of the same gear we do.
Yeah.
We probably have a lot more of like electrical detection devices than you might.
Yeah. We're not looking for that kind of stuff.
Right, because that makes here nor there for you.
Mhm.
Obviously, like we use trap cams. I'm assuming you use trap cams as well.
Yep. Yeah.
So what about any of the other equipment you might use?
Well, actually, the trail cams, like you said, the trap cams, we don't have any luck with those. Those don't do anything good for us.
Oh,
Linda has another question. Do they make dens?
I heard a story, not a story, it was a report. It actually has to do with the same gray Sasquatch. We believe it was the mother.
Okay.
She didn't even have all her teeth, but it was a dry creek bed, and it looked like they had kept throwing deadfall trees across this dry creek bed, and underneath there is where they were living. And the reason we knew that was the gentleman that owned the property, he was feeding them, and he had gone out to see where they were because he hadn't seen them for a while. And he actually went down in the creek bed, went into the enclosure, and the mother was in there.
Huh.
And it wasn't a good scene. He came out, and I think they said there was like a 10-footer there waiting for him, and walked behind him all the way out the woods to his yard.
I was actually thinking to myself as I was checking on the dog in the toilet. I would love to go down to Pennsylvania, meet with Nate and check that kind of stuff out for myself.
Anytime you want, let me know.
Which I thank you for, except for the fact that now we're talking about. They just talk about a den of Wookiees. Well, a Wookiee, right? Like that's got to be what George Lucas based Wookiees off of.
Actually, Bigfoot's bigger than a Wookiee.
Which also scares the shit out of me. Like I'm a very mild-mannered Canadian. We're not tough people. Look at our politics. So in a den. So how many would be in a den? Like what
well, it's usually just a family circle. It's
no.
Maybe a mother, father, and I think the siblings, the children, after they get so old, they just go off and start their own clan, I think.
So we're really talking about the atypical family then.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, one of mine hasn't moved out of the house yet. It's not her.
I know.
Yeah.
She's out.
I'm not engaged.
But I've still got one that's in their 20s staying here. Okay, so has anyone ever found a dead one? Well, I'm guessing.
No.
I'm guessing not.
There's different views on that. Some people think that they were. There's some people that say they've shot them and killed them, and they've seen them lay, and they're gone immediately. You know, the next time they go back, they're just not there.
So Squatch Talks, why don't you put that comment up?
Oh, is Eric still Squatch talking? Yeah.
I don't know. These paranormal folks
As
aren't
brave as us Squatchers.
Now, maybe we're not talking about paranormal folks as a rule. I'm not scared of ghosts, but I'm scared of like a 10-foot thing that could eat me.
Yeah.
Well, when the ghost stuff happens to us, we sort of turn tail and run. So it's just the other way.
It's just what you're scared of, right?
Yep.
So one of these days, I'll come down there. We'll go do the Squatch thing and the ghost hunt thing at the same weekend, and when we can both be scared senseless of anything.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'm just going to go through my list of questions
It's
here.
a way to keep the heart pumping, right?
Yeah, it is great. You know that,
Isn't
like
it?
that one time, I don't know what it was, what investigation it was. I don't know whether it was Jesus, I can't remember anyway. But we had an investigation within the last year or two, and something happened. It actually gave me like a good shock, which is what we want.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like after I've been doing this for 30 years. So I want that
Yep.
something that makes me shake enough that I'm going, okay, guys, we got to give a 10-minute break here so I can collect myself, because being, human is okay. You know what I mean? I think people think that, not to be scared of anything.
I was out with a guy one night. There was about 5 of us, and this was an older gentleman on one of my expeditions. And he didn't seem to be real scared about anything. You know, he's like, we're walking in the woods and he's talking like everything's normal. And we hunkered down at this one spot, and we were at the bottom near a creek bed, and it was a lot of pine trees.
Right.
And he says, I'm just going to walk down the trail here a ways and see what's down there. I said, go for it. No flashlight, no nothing. He just started walking down the trail. And he says, he almost got where I couldn't see him, that the darkness almost overtook him. He comes walking back and he says, it's a whole lot darker down there when you're by yourself. I said, yeah, it really is.
Just to answer my son-in-law, who just posted up there, Bigfoot versus Sasquatch, what's the difference? We already answered that question. You signed in too late, Brandon. You'll just have to watch the replay.
Oh.
I'm allowed to say that to him. He's marrying my daughter.
Actually, that happened in I guess it was 1958, or I don't know. Eric can tell me the exact date. But when they first found that the indigenous people in Canada always called them Sasquatch.
Right.
The name Bigfoot wasn't coined until they found the first print in California.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's when Bigfoot started. So Bigfoot's more or less a lower 48.
So then you guys are actually robbing a Canadian term.
Sure. We
That's
think so. We think so.
So you think it's a regional thing, what you call it?
Yeah. Florida, they call it the skunk ape.
What?
Yeah. Skunk ape, because it stinks. It does. It smells bad,
Yeah, like I've grown up only like calling it Bigfoot. Like this is like the first time I've like called it Sasquatch.
Now I lived in British Columbia.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we called it because I didn't.
Yeah, I think they call it Sasquatch. I like Sasquatch better. It sounds better than Bigfoot.
It has a more important sound.
It does.
So here's a question I want to ask, because obviously in the world of the paranormal, we run a 50-50. And what that means is that 50% of the teams, probably closer to 80, are chuckleheads. Like total mind-numbing idiots that go into homes and ruin it for all of us. Or they go into historic properties and run around, with little shit kittens all over the place and freaking out and knocking things over.
Yeah, they just ruined our investigation.
Yeah, they ruin investigations for the rest of us that are going to go do it.
Right.
In the world of Bigfootology, that's a word.
All right,
I just made it.
Yeah, we'll go with it.
Do you have the same schmucky idiots that you battle?
Occasionally, there's some people that like to hoax things. They had the pictures of the stump way out that they zoom in and pixelate and say it's a Bigfoot.
Okay. Well, what about because what we run into besides fake evidence and TV shows, provide fake evidence and that kind of bullshit. But
Yeah.
we just run into really bad investigators.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys have like real cowboys out there that go out and turn this into a weekend warrior thing? And they get
Not really.
feather rod and the whole.
Some of them do. We usually weed them out. The BFRO as a whole we actually take it quite seriously, and we do it as scientifically as we can. When we collect evidence, we try to do it as scientifically as we can. We try to watch, how all that's done and collect everything the proper way in case it does yield any information,
Mm-hmm. Let's see if we can pop some of these comments up here. Let's hi Jeff. Hold on. Let pop up Kay's comment. A friend near the lower mainland was walking and came across a large footprint sent to the guy who was on Expedition X, but they never responded. Well, I mean, Expedition X is like a show type thing, right? So that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Kay's a paranormal investigator. Hold on. Does Russia or Siberia have much evidence, and have you seen it?
Yeah, we've seen pretty much evidence from over there. Again, it's all like abominable snowman stuff.
Sure. They just have snowshoes on.
Yeah.
The Canadians stole it from the local native peoples, the Shalite tribe.
The Sasquatch. Okay.
Okay, now we know.
Well, there we go. Now we can acknowledge.
So fine, they stole it from the Canadians, but the Canadians stole it from the indigenous. So we're just all rip-off artists at some point in time. Now, obviously, getting.
That's a good question. Here.
Oh, Brandon, what would the value of a confirmed picture be?
Oh man,
talked about that already.
I would have I would not be able to put a price on it.
Well, Brandon, put it this way. I've got 3,000 pictures on my website. Not a single one of them is paranormal. I have never come across a paranormal picture that is paranormal. Yeah. So, fortunately, be it UFO, be it cryptid, be it ghost, it's the one thing that really sucks. Mm-hmm. Is that just that finding that verifiable golden goat's head is really hard, and we'd be very rich people. Is that my dog barking at me? No, I think it's his dog.
Yeah, I got a dog barking. Sorry.
So that's maybe the next thing. So this is almost like the Zapruder films in the States with JFK, and it's always shaky and shit.
Yeah,
that's one of the things I would always say about Bigfoot and other cryptids, is that it's just such luck that the only footage that seems to come out of it, everybody is holding a camera that has got
Tourette's or something. They're shaking. Yeah.
They just like with today's technology.
2 whole megapixels on the camera.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I get it. Like, there's the original picture from whenever. Go put that picture up. Is the whole world is familiar with this picture,
right?
Right, which I know this has been quandaried up and down and theory.
Oh yeah, like when I googled the Bigfoot, like that photo was in every different color edited, different sizes, like 100 of them.
Yeah,
we actually did an episode where they just digitized all that 16 millimeter film and did a whole thing on The Proof Is Out There. It's a TV show.
Right.
We actually talked about it on our podcast, and the way they digitized that and brought that there's no question about what it is anymore. There's absolutely no question. That's a Bigfoot.
Okay. In which case, great, because I know that like when you're Nessie or whatever, it always seems to be like the crappiest picture.
Oh yeah.
And that's what we've always said. Bigfoot pictures are blurry because we believe the Bigfoot is blurry. It's got to be.
Actually, when you pop into it, you actually still can't see it.
Yeah.
And I know that like in 30 years of investigating, and I video document everything we do, we have 1 3-second clip of something that I can't figure out what it is.
Right.
The rest of it, no problem, be able to tear it apart. So it is definitely that lottery that you're going to win. Just looking over my stuff, and obviously COVID affected you guys.
Oh,
It affected us. It probably it's now affecting us in the weirdest way, in the way that, so COVID stopped everybody from being able to do everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of like lowered everybody's drive to do anything.
Yeah, it did.
Now all of a sudden, what I'm seeing is 100 shitty teams being formed, and now all of a sudden the hauntings are coming up again, and everybody's. So we're going to have a really, really busy season. Probably asked, but has scat ever been found in these areas where sightings occur?
Yes.
Are they giant, like huge?
It that's the problem though. Every time you have anything and send it for DNA, it always comes back either human or bear.
Well,
They
because
just, you know,
it's a hominid.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, one would assume that it's kind of got somewhat the same, I don't know, gelatinous characteristics. I
Yeah.
suppose if you fed the Bigfoot some Taco Bell, he's probably going to be running around the forest looking for a bush to crap in.
I would think so.
I don't know what a Bigfoot's diet. Okay, there's a good one. I'm assuming
Diet?
that they are omnivorous.
That's my theory. Yes, I
Okay.
think they eat mostly vegetation. They'll eat a dead deer here and there. A lot of people think they kill the deer, like
Okay.
snap their legs and stuff. I
Okay.
still don't think they chase after them. I think they're
Pretty quick.
yeah. I don't think it happens. I know they throw rocks really well. They're really they can really pinpoint where they want to rock. But I just don't. I don't see them killing a deer with a rock or slowing it down enough. Again, that's just my opinion. There's a lot of people that think they have a lot of proof that they, funnel these deer. They like push them. They'll find them and they'll push them into a bottleneck, and there's two waiting there for them that clobber them.
Jeez.
But I think they eat roadkill. They eat, frogs, whatever they can get, but mostly vegetation. I mean, look how big a moose gets,
Yeah,
and they don't eat anything but vegetation.
that's right. Okay, so they're vegan or whatever.
Yeah.
Black
And
what a
bear,
horrible-
I mean,
horrible
black
life.
bear get pretty darn big for not eating meat, really.
That's a pretty good point.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's a
true.
really good point. So how do you prepare? You take me through this. Next Saturday,
Right.
you're going to investigate. How do you decide where you're going to go? How do you just prepare for the whole thing? How many people travel with you?
Usually it's just my wife and my daughter, or it used to be both daughters, but she just had my grandson, so she doesn't come along anymore. But my youngest, who's been going out and looking for Sasquatch since he's 9 years old, she's 17 now. She usually goes with us, so it's usually just the three of us. We
Yeah.
know where they are typically that time of year,
right.
and it's just like hunting. You just go walk out in the woods,
So you're
look for the signs.
How far away from safety are you going?
What do you mean safety?
Well, your car.
Oh,
You steal-
miles. We'll do when I was healthy, we'd do 5-mile loops. You walk pretty far out there.
Wow, and you're camping out there all night.
Yeah. Usually just a tent. You walk out with a tent and a backpack, and that's what you got.
Okay, Dan asked. Okay, hold on. This is do you carry a sidearm when you're out there?
Not always. No. I do carry a sidearm. Depends where I'm going, but normally I don't. It changes your attitude. It changes the energy you put off when you're carrying a sidearm. I think it puts everything off.
Gee, I guess so. I guess it gives you a false sense of security, and
That's what I think.
you might actually react and shoot something that you're not supposed to shoot.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
By the way, I was just making it more realistic that the Sasquatch was in the room. They said they stink.
Mhm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have Taco Bell. So, okay. So I'm doing that. So I've asked all the questions I was going to ask.
Okay,
Now, what kind of, let's
Well,
okay,
the
let's-
best time of year depends on what part of the country you're in too. Like for me, wintertime, they're a lot harder to find for me in my area in wintertime. Fall and spring, they're easier. Summertime, they're not too easy to find either. No, we don't bother hiding our scent.
I thought he was talking to me. Oh,
Maybe he was.
maybe he was talking to me. It was a double entendre there. Very
If those things can see and smell as good as everybody says they can, they know you're there no matter what.
That's crazy.
Now,
Yeah.
how do you explain what you do to like just like the random person? Like if they ask like what your hobbies are, how do you explain that you hunt Sasquatch?
Do they think you're a nut bar?
Yeah, they do.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. I mostly just tell people that I go for long hikes in the woods. You know,
Yeah.
what's your hobby? I go camping and hiking, you know.
Yeah.
And then once I get to know them a little better, I'll tell them about the Bigfoot stuff.
Okay.
But
Like we geocache, which, you know, you go
yeah,
out
there you go.
in the forest. So I can, but I can tell you, it's amazing when you tell people that you geocache and you explain it, they think you're an idiot too. But if you just said
Yeah.
you're going for a hike, they
Yeah.
wouldn't think twice about it. But the minute
Yeah.
you say you're out there trying to find something, now
Yeah.
you're a knob, right?
Yeah.
I
Well, that's the excuse we use when we're out there too. If the game warden or something comes up, what are you guys doing out here? Geocaching.
So not including video, footprint, and pictures, what 100% DNA has been verified? Fur, scat, blood, pee. That sounds disgusting, Kay. Plus all the other excrements that living creatures leave lying around.
We have a lot of people have hair. I don't know about. I know there's been scat that they've tried to get DNA from, and I know that they've had bodies that they say are Sasquatch, but I don't. Nothing ever comes out of them. People always say they can't get their samples back. It comes back inconclusive, like I said before, and everybody blames it on like the MIB go in and take the sample and tell everybody it was bear and leave it at that and walk away.
That's what, generally speaking, any of us have ever heard. Really, how long do you stay out?
Depends on the activity. A lot of times we'll start going out around 9 o'clock at night, and if it's a good night and it's comfortable and things are happening, it might be 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning till we go in.
Okay.
Huh. Well, you really only do that for big investigations.
Yeah, depends. See, when we're going in, we're collecting evidence, but
Yeah.
you collect a certain amount of evidence from a sample, and then
Yeah, resis were usually
residential. Because honestly, when we do residentials, people don't want you in their house.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you tell them, like, if stuff starts to go down,
Yeah.
like if your walls start to ooze a pink jelly,
Yeah.
they're staying.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really happen when we're doing a prison or something like that. We're there all night. But yeah, understandable. That's really cool. So is there like a website you'd like to pop out there?
Well, just Squatch Talks podcast on YouTube, and we got the Squatch Talks podcast Facebook page. If you want to check that out, and we air every Saturday at 8 o'clock on YouTube. We usually do a live feed on Friday nights on the Facebook page. Sort of talk about what we're gonna have on. Like I said, we've been doing a lot more paranormal stuff too.
That's awesome. And you know what? I'm thinking that we have to diversify a bit and be able to span our hands, at least even out of respect, to be able to go out and experience what other I'm going to say people of our ilk do, because we are of the same ilk. We're just different highways, right?
Right.
Different interstates. So, we're going to have to come down there and I'm curious too about sounds.
Sounds that can get pretty technical. There's a guy the Bfro uses, Monongahela. He takes these audios and he has a whole library of different sounds, and he has it where he can just watch Audacity for the recording.
Yep.
And he doesn't even have to listen to it half the time. He can just see when the things go up, and then he listens to that little area for the tree knocks and the howls and stuff. But a lot of times it'll start off sounding like a coyote, like yipping, and then all of a sudden you'll hear this long drawn out, and the way you can always tell is at the end it'll either have a whoop or a yee-haw or a yow at the end. And obviously dogs can't do that. Bobcats sort of can, but these things are so long and so loud that they're just not any little animal.
Again, creepy as hell.
Yeah.
I'm going to end the questions there because we've only got about 4 minutes left to the broadcast till the next show starts. Nate, I think we're going to have to develop further onto this so that we can have opportunities, and likewise back and forth. Certainly, once the border gets a little less stupid, right now, of course, we still got to test both ways, so we're stuck in Canada for a while longer. I want to thank you for coming on to the show, my friend.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And party on. Go shake hands with a Bigfoot. Be good.
Right on.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.